Hello everyone, I am Vijay Katta and today we will study application layer. Application layer is discussed in the unit number 5 of computer network syllabus. Basically, application layer is considered as abstraction layer. Certain number of protocols has been discussed at the application layer. So example is a FTP file transfer protocol, SMTP, electronic mail, SNMP, HTTP, then HTTPS, then WWW, IMAP, and there are the list of protocols. But out of these protocols, we will study a few protocols here. So application layer is considered as a abstraction layer. It means it specifies the shared protocol interface method used by the host in the communication. So application layer is directly connected with the user. With the help of application layer protocol, user can perform the communication with the another users. Basically, application layer protocols are totally depend upon the transport layer protocols for the further communication. So application layer is basically used in both the standard models of the computer network. We have studied two standard models, that is called the TCP/IP, that is a practical implementation, and open system, that is a interconnection model, that is called as the OSI model. So the application layer only standardize the communication and it depends upon the transport layer for underlying communications. Now we will study the first protocol, that is a domain name system. So as a it is a application layer is an abstraction layer. It provides direct services to users, and users are basically familiar with the natural languages symbol, natural languages notation. It is very difficult for the human being to identify any resource with the help of certain numbering scheme called as the IP address or XYZ addressing scheme. And it is very difficult to remember their numbers, IP addresses. So we are going to start with the domain name system. So although IP address are convenient and compact way to identify machine and are fundamental in TCP/IP communication, but it is unsuitable for human users. Meanwhile, high-level symbolic names are convenient to humans. So application layer software permit user to use this symbolic name in place of IP protocol or IP addressing scheme, which is discussed at the network layer. But final, the communication is performed at the with the help of IP protocols. So now we need a mechanism where end user will use a natural languages symbol and final communication will be performed via IP. So this for this conversion or to define this structure, we use the domain name system. So this concept is called as a domain name system. Now DNS is a naming scheme that use a hierarchical domain-based naming scheme on a distributed database system. This is a first example of distributed database system. Basically, our the approach is divide the internet into several hundred top-level domains, and the two flavors are discussed here. First one is called as on the basis of generic concept, and second one on the basis of country level concept. Now, under the concept of generic, now our domain name system start with the root, basically start with the root. Then examples of generic are .com, .edu, .org, .gov, .net, and then further it is classified, further subdivided domains are here. On the basis of country, .au, .in, .nl, .us, the in stands for India, and then further like in India we have the subdomains of the ERNet server, then BSNL, then through ERNet. Many IITs architecture has been defined here. So IIT Kharagpur has server, then IIT Kharagpur is again subdomains for the IIT Kharagpur, RCC, CSE, mechanical, like this one. So the name used by the DNS very convenient to human, but you cannot perform the final communication in internet. So mapping mechanism, mapping resolvers are used here. That is called as a simply resolver or name address resolution here. The mapping of the name to the specific address can be done using a name server. Now, at the name server, we maintain a lookup table. So it is possible to maintain a single lookup table for the entire DNS database, and it will respond to the all queries. But this single point, it creates a single point failure also. Suppose this machine has been crashed, then complete domain name system structure will be collapsed and nobody will be able to perform the communication or find the name IP address for a particular name. That's why we divide the this entire namespace into the non-overlapping zones. Now, resolver, to make a name onto the IP address, an application layer library function library call is used called as the resolver. So whenever we have to add, we have to find a particular IP address for a given name, for example, for the Gmail server or for a Facebook server. So first thing is the resolver from our machines use a transport layer protocol called as the UDP packet to the local DNS server. Now it will search on our the local DNS server. If name is found on the local DNS server, it might be possible that is within your our organizations or within the ISP. Then it returns the IP address to the resolver, and which is that information is transferred to the client. So after having an IP address, the client established TCP connection with the destination node. So resolver basically in the first step use UDP to connect to search the database. After getting the name information, it use TCP for the communication. But if name is not found on the particular local DNS server, then it is forwarded to the higher, in the higher order, in the higher hierarchy, and whenever it will be found out, it will, that information is sent in the lower order. That is called as a recursive resolution, and we have discussed this thing with the help of DNS server at IIT Kharagpur examples. I have taken this example from NPTEL notes. So .in definitely is a India country level server. Then EarNet, it provides the services. So it's another one. IIT Kharagpur server for the IIT Kharagpur. Then we are at a department level, CSE department server. Users are connected. Then so suppose any user called as a Rajiv want to uh, access a particular facebook.com, and this information, it send a UDP packet to this server. If it is available, reply back. If it is not available, send in the topmost hierarchy, and then send in the backward direction. That is called as the recursive one. And that same concept I have discussed with the help of step 1, step 2, step 3 EarNet, step 4 EarNet IIT K EarNet, then 5 reply, we got the reply, and then inform to the client. So this is a recursive example. Now next protocol we will study is called as a electronic mail. Sometimes you call it as a email services. So electronic mail is among the most widely available application, most used application on the internet. Each user who want to participate in an email communication must have a mailbox. So mailbox is a background application. So where all outgoing and incoming messages are buffered. So it means to receive any email address, it is not necessary you must be online always. So although you are offline, this application will be work in background. Your message will be stored in the mailbox, and whenever you will open your mailbox, you can read that one. So the message contains header that specifies sender, who is the sender of that message, recipient, subjects, and some other details. And the next part is called as the body part, which contains the message. So in the TCP/IP protocol that support electronic mail, internet, we use the simple mail transfer protocol, that is called as the SMTP protocol. So start with the SMTP architecture. So this diagram simply show there are SMTP clients are there, SMTP client server or SMTP client server architecture, and they are connected with the internet, and we perform this communication. But SMTP is not so simple as discussed in this figure. There are certain scenarios, there are certain softwares are there which perform these communications. So first one, that is called as a user agent. A software package known as a user agent is basically used to compose, read, reply, forward the email, and handle the email boxes. Basically, email address consists of the two parts divided by this special character called as the @ symbol. So first part is the local name that identifies your mailbox, and the second part is called as the domain name. So user agent software basically perform this task called as the composing the message, reading the message, replying the message, forwarding the message, and handling the mailboxes. So now, as I already discussed, this mechanism is not so simple. I have taken 4 scenarios for transmission of the electronic mail where sender and receivers are connected at the same machine and different machines. So now our in the first scenario, when the sender and receiver of an email are on the same architecture or on the same system, then in this is the simplest one, we need a two user agent here. Now uh, Alice want to transfer a data to Bob. Both are connected to the same server, same system architecture, same server, that is the same mail server. Then, we need only two user agent, one for composing and another for the reading one. Now this is a very simple scenario, rarely used scenario. Now in the second scenario, when sender and receiver of an email are on the different systems, then we need two user agent and pair of MTA, that is a message transfer agent. It means two user agent UA and two MTA. So this condition defines when sender and receiver are on the different system. Now just focus on this diagram. So here Alice is connected with system that is a mail server 1, and Bob, who is a receiver, connected on the system 2 mail server 2. So here we have a two different mail servers. So here Alice need first user agent for composing the message. This is buffered at the server, local server or system 1. Then the MTA client is a one software entity which will take this data from the buffer, that mail from the buffer, then transferred to the internet. So at the receiver end, MTA server will be there, and this will transfer to the Bob, and Bob will read this email via user agent. So this is a somewhat complicated mechanism. Now we will take a third scenario. When sender is connected to the email server via LAN or MAN. It means if we compared it with the second scenario, here sender or receivers are not directly connected. They are connected via LAN or WAN. Then in that condition, we need two user agent and two pair of MTA. Now that is a total 4 MTA. So again, this scenario is different. Here, Alice is not directly connected. It is connected via, definitely via some LAN. So sending a message or particular one, we need a user agent and MTA client at the Alice. Then via, because we are connected LAN, we need MTA client here. So via this one, it is transferred to the local server, that is a mail server here. So that is a MTA server application is here. So MTA client, MTA server is working here. Now next, this is transferred. Now we have to transfer message from one mail server to another mail server via internet. So this side, sending side, has another MTA client agent is here. So MTA client agent will forward the message via internet to the respective one. At destination end, we need a MTA server, and it will transfer message to Bob, and Bob will read it via user agents. So this is a third scenario. And now the commonly used scenario, that is called as the fourth scenario, in the electronic mail. When both sender and receivers are connected to the mail servers via LAN and MAN. It means if we focus on this diagram, although Alice is connected via LAN, but Bob is directly connected to system. So in the general communication or the communication email, when we send or when we receive, we are not directly connected to the server. So in this connection, this is a common scenario. That is a scenario number 4, where both parties are connected via LAN or WAN. Now we are in our daily life, we use this scenario. So in this particular scenario, we need two user agent, two pair of MTA, and now two different entities called as a two MAA. Now MAA stands for Message Access Agent. So let's start with the discussion. So Alice want to send a message via user agent. It will write. Then MTA client will forward this thing. So at the server, where you are connected via LAN, MTA server will receive this one. Then via MTA client, it will forward it to the MTA server of the next machine. Then via MAA Message Access Agent, it will be transferred to MAA server. The MAA server will transfer via MAA client to the Bob, and at the client end, user via UA, Bob will read this message. So this is a scenario or scenario which is commonly used. So there are certain scenarios also, but I think it is sufficient to understand the concept of SMTP protocol. Now we will discuss some examples of the UA, that is a user agent, which is essential software component for reading and composing the message. Now there are command driven and GUI based. So here command based are the mail, Pine, and ELM. So these are the command driven user agent software program, while a GUI based, that is a graphical user interface based, are Edura, Outlook, Netscape. So these are some examples of the user agent based GUI based user agent. Now next is remote logging. Telnet is a simple remote terminal protocol that provides a remote logging capability, so you can directly connect with the another machine, which enables user to log on to the remote computer and behave as it is directly connected to that one. So you can, from your machine, with the help of Telnet, you can directly access another machine, and that complete the screen will appear on your monitor. So the following three basic services offered by the Telnet. It defines network virtual terminal that provides a standard interface to remote system. It includes a mechanism that allow client and server to negotiate options from standard set. And third, treat both ends symmetrically. So this is basically a local and remote login mechanism is had defined here. We need a terminal drivers here. With the help these terminal drivers perform, if locally perform, so with the help of terminal, this is a local operating system terminal driver is installed there, and via terminal driver we can access the application. If we want to perform a telnet via internet, then this via terminal drivers on operating system, we need a telnet client. The telnet client will use TCP IP protocol suite, basically transport layer, network layer, data link layer, and physical layer protocols. Via this one, internet, via internet messages transfer on the receiver end. Then we need a telnet server, then via pseudo terminal driver, and through that we can use the application here. Now next one is called as a file transfer protocol. So it is basically a FTP protocol. So file transferring is from one computer to another is the most common task. As a matter, it is a great volume of data has been interchanged with the help of FTP mechanism. So FTP is a TCP client server application for the transfer files between the remote machine through internet. A TCP connection is set up before file transfer. It consists throughout the session. It is possible to send more than one file before disconnecting the link. So it means on the single link you can transfer as many as data files. A control connection is established first with the remote host before any file transmission. It means if you want to use a file FTP protocol, first you have to establish the control connection. Whenever the connection permission granted, then you can use the file transfer mechanism. So here we are simply discussing the FTP connection procedure, user interface, control processes, data transfer protocol, and on the receiver from one control process transfer, so connection is established and data communication has been performed. So FTP uses services of TCP protocol, that's the transport link. It needs two TCP connection. A well-known port 21 with TCP is used for control connection and port 20 used for the data connection. Now we will study the next protocol, that is called as a simple network management protocol, stands for SNMP protocol. So SNMP, a network manager use network management software that helps them to locate, diagnose and rectify the problem. So for this purpose we use the simple network management protocol. So it basically manages the resources, network resources. It uses transport layer protocol for further communication. So SNMP basically monitor the functioning behavior of the switches, routers, and the hosts connected to the particular network. Basically, there are four components of SNMP protocol. First one is called as the management of the system protocol. Second one is called as the management of node, which specify host, router, switches, bridges also. Next one is called as management of information base, specified data items a host or a router must keep and the operation allowed on each category. And next and last, the fourth component is called as a management of the protocol. So it controls the protocols there. And now next is a hypertext transfer protocol, HTTP protocol. So HTTP protocol is application protocol for distributed collaborative hypermedia information system. So HTTP is a foundation for data communication in World Wide Web. Hypertext is a structured text that uses logical link, and that logical link is called as a hyperlink between the two nodes containing the text. So HTTP protocol is basically exchange or transfer the hypertext information. HTTP function work as a request response protocol model in a client server computing model. So in the client server architecture, we use the HTTP protocol. A web browser, for example, may be a client, and application running on the computer hosting a website may be a server. Now, HTTP procedure. Client submit HTTP request message to the server. Server which provide resources such as a HTML file, hypertext, markup language files, and other contents, and perform other functions on the behalf of client, return response messages to the client. Response contains completion status information about request and may also contain request content in its message body. So web browser is an application or example of user agent for HTTP. Other types of user agents includes the indexing software used by search provider, that's a web crawler, voice browser, mobile apps, other software that access, consume and display the web content. An HTTP session is a sequence of network request and response transactions. So it is a sequence of request and response model. HTTP client initiate a request to establishing a TCP connection to a particular port on a server. Typically, this port number we generally define 80 or occasionally port number 8080. An HTTP server listening on that port waits the client request message. Upon receiving a request, the server sends back a status line such as HTTP/1.1 200 OK, a message of its own. The body of message is typically request resources or error message. Now we are HTTP performs authentication mechanisms. Our HTTP procedure defines some request methods like in the HTTP 1.0 specified defined get, post, and head methods are defined here. While HTTP version 1.1 specify added 5 new methods are defined here. So GET is basically method request representation of specific resources. Head method asks for response identical to that the GET request. Post, put, delete, trace, options, connect, and patch. So these are the few methods which are defined in the at the HTTP one. Now this HTTP connections are considered as the persistent connection. So in HTTP 0.9 or 1.0, the connection is closed after single request response pair. While in HTTP 1.1, it keeps alive mechanism was introduced here where connection could be reused for more than one request. Now this is a new thing. Such persistent connection reduce the latency perceptibility because the client does not need renegotiate the TCP three-way handshaking mechanism. Version 1.1 of the protocol also made for the bandwidth optimization. HTTP 1. Introduce chunk transfer encoding mechanism to allow content on the persistent connection to be streaming rather than buffered one. HTTP defines 1.1 pipeline further reduce lagging time one. So these are the few advantages of HTTP 1.1. Basically, HTTP session is called as a stateless protocol. A stateless protocol does not require the HTTP server to retain information. However, some web application implement state or server-side session using instance HTTP cookies or a hidden variable within the web form. Now, next one is a World Wide Web. So, World Wide Web is information space where documents and other web resources are identified by URL, interlinked by hypertext links, and can be accessed via internet. So World Wide Web was initiated by English scientist called as the Tim Berners-Lee in 1989. Web pages are primarily text document formatted and annotated with hypertext markup language. In addition to formatted text, web pages may contain information, video, or some audio, and the software components that are rendered in user's web browser as a coherent pages of multimedia content. Embedded hyperlinks permit user to negotiate between the two web pages. Now, what is a website? Multiple web pages are with a common theme, a common domain name, or both may call as a website. Now, another important concept in the World Wide Web is a URL, Uniform Resource Locator. Uniform Resource Locator commonly informally termed as a web address is reference to the web resources. URL is specific type of uniform resource identifier. Although many people use the terms interchangeably, but both are the different one. So URL implies the means to access indicated resources, which is not true for every EI. URL is most commonly used to reference the web pages, that is HTTP based web pages, but also used for file transfer, email, database access, JDBC, and in more other applications. So a URL has two main components. First one is called as the protocol identifier. For the URL HTTP example.com, the protocol identifier is a HTTP, and second one is called as the resource name. So in the game, see exam, the resource name is example.com. Now you are requested to study POP, Post Office Protocol, IMAP protocol in detail, HTTPS, that is nothing but hypertext transfer protocol with the security mechanism, and Telnet. Although we have discussed briefly or very shortly the Telnet protocol, you are requested to study these four more protocols. Thank you.